voters for Joe Biden were not shocking. They were shocking. Again, I go back to that poll a week ago that had Bernie Sanders within single digits of Joe Biden. Even after South Carolina, people said, yes, 60%, 56%. That's a pretty good number for Joe Biden. But that's because of Jim Clyburn. Yeah. But those numbers, 62% in Virginia, in the 70s in the state of Alabama, absolutely stunning. And this turnaround, this shocking turnaround, if I've been thinking all night, trying to figure out a time when one candidate's fortunes changed over the course of 3 days as much as Joe Biden's did, and I just can't think of anybody. You'd have to go back to Harry Truman in 1948 and his shocking Dewey beats Truman election to think of a parallel where Americans woke up one morning shocked by the results. Yes, Donald Trump shocked the political world, but that was coming. You could see that coming 10 days out as he got closer and closer after the Comey letter. This shocking result over the course of 3 days is like nothing we've seen in modern American politics. And Reverend Al, it's because of Jim Clyburn and it's because of black voters across the Deep South that kept this campaign alive when everybody else considered it dead.
No doubt about it. When you look at what happened last night, even those of us that felt that he was being underestimated with black voters was stunned at how overwhelmingly he was supported. And you have to give a lot of credit to Jim Clyburn, who has so much respect. I think that probably John Lewis and Clyburn and the late, great Elijah Cummings is the one that transcends even age lines in terms of respecting the political culture of the black community. And the other thing you have to keep in mind is that people felt, I heard it over and over again, I heard it in Selma where Joe Biden and I spoke on Sunday at Brown Chapel. People said Joe Biden stood by Barack Obama. He stood by our guy. We're going to stand by him. And there's an identity there in our community where we feel we've been counted out. Just because you count a guy out, it doesn't mean the fight is over. And the cultural identity, I keep saying a lot of the latte liberals are disconnected from the base of the Democratic Party, which is the African-American voters. And that is they care about how their kids are going to go to school. They care about bread and butter issues. They care about criminal justice. And a lot of the latte liberals are so intellectual, as we say in church, they're so heavenly bound, they're no earthly good.
Yeah, you know, and Rev, you and I have been talking about this through the entire election process. I'll say it again. There are two wings of the Democratic Party. There always has been. There's been the Bill Clinton wing of the Democratic Party that did well with working class white voters, working class black voters, did well in black churches. And then there was the Bill Bradley, and we'll just say the Mayor Pete side of the party that did very well with intellectuals, did very well with white voters on the Upper East Side, did very well in college towns. This year, for some reason, Joe Biden was the only candidate on the Bill Clinton side of the Democratic Party. The other 20 candidates were on the Bill Bradley, Mayor Pete side of the party. We've been saying it for weeks.
Absolutely.
You can't win the nomination from that wing of the Democratic Party. Actually, we've been saying it for about the last 6 months. You just can't do it. Yes, you look good in Iowa. You look good in New Hampshire. But what are you going to do in South Carolina? What are you going to do in Alabama? What are you going to do in North Carolina? And we saw it again, which begs the question again. We've got to get to Kornacki, the big board. But Reverend Al, this is an important time for us to underline again what you and I have been saying for over a year now. It is a disgrace that the Democratic Party starts their contests in two overwhelmingly white states, in Iowa and New Hampshire. They wasted 2 years of everybody's time. They should have started in South Carolina. They should have started in a state that represented the demographic breakdown and the importance of the black voters to the Democratic Party.
And if they had, they wouldn't have been as stunned as we all were last night. And I think last night was a case in point as to why they have to change how we go into this primary season. The other part of that you and I discussed right on this show is no one noticed even in Nevada. Bernie lost the black vote. That should have been a tap on people's shoulder that, wait a minute, there is a problem here in the Sanders campaign. And had he listened to some of his people that I think were trying to guide him right, Nina Turner and others, they need to invest more. Now, it's not too late. You still have Michigan and other things. We shouldn't pop the corks for those that are with Biden yet. But this was a real douche of cold water in their face. And I think that people need to wake up. And you need to watch the fact that Donald Trump is going to try to chip away at the black vote because he understands that. And you've got to have someone that knows how to counter that and knows how to relate to those voters and bring them out, as Biden showed he could last night.
And Donald Trump believes he can get over 20% of the black vote, unlike any other Republican. They are focusing on it maniacally every single day.
Absolutely.
While Democrats are fighting this battle out. If it's up against a Bernie Sanders or somebody from the wing of the party that does not actually know how to connect with black voters nationwide, Donald Trump may get that percentage point. Robert Gibbs, let's talk about what else we learned last night, something that you've known all along. Twitter does not represent the mainstream of the Democratic Party. And there have been candidates over the past year and a half that have freaked out when somebody posted something negative about them on Twitter. They should have just closed their phones, deleted their Twitter account, and listened to the voters, because Barack Obama actually was the target of attacks through the first 2 to 3 debates. I really do think at the end of the day, that finished off more people's campaign than anybody else. It's somehow Barack Obama was a conservative sellout on health care reform, that somehow Barack Obama was a conservative sellout on immigration. I even heard somebody last night on another network say, Barack Obama is the past. We don't need to look to the past. We need to look to the future. Well, you know, after the last 4 years of Donald Trump, maybe we need to go back to square one with the Obama administration and then move forward from there instead of trashing Barack Obama.
Well, undoubtedly. I mean, he's a hugely popular figure, obviously still in the party, and will be for a long time. And I think you saw remnants of the coalition that he put together, not just the strong African-American vote that you and Reverend Sharpton just talked about, but especially in places like Virginia, North Carolina, adding those suburban voters in Fairfax County, Wake County, in North Carolina, you know, outside of Charlotte, is a powerful combination in a way that we just haven't seen put together in this race. And look, I think in the end,
Robert, can you believe the numbers in suburban D.C.?
Yeah.
They were extraordinary. They surpassed 4 years ago.
Yep.
They even easily surpassed 8 years ago with Barack Obama. It was those suburban voters, a lot of Democrats, but a lot of independents and a lot of former Republicans that I know that said, the hell with this party. I'm voting Democrat.